Imagine waking up tomorrow and suddenly stores are empty, phone prices double, car factories stop working, and global markets crash. Sounds impossible, right? But here's the scary part. One country has the power to affect almost every economy on Earth, and that country is. From smartphones to clothing, from shipping ports to billion-dollar loans, China has quietly built one of the strongest economic systems in modern history. So how did China become so powerful? And why does the entire world depend on it? Let's find out. China became the world's factory. The biggest reason China controls so much of the global economy is manufacturing. For decades, companies around the world moved their factories to China because production was cheaper and faster there. China had millions of workers, low production costs, huge industrial cities, and strong government support. As a result, China became known as the world's factory. Today, many products we use every single day are made in China. Phones, laptops, clothes, electronics, toys, and even car parts. Major global companies like Nike, Apple, Adidas, Shein, Tesla, Amazon, Samsung, and so on depend heavily on Chinese factories. That means if factories in China slow down, businesses across the world immediately feel the impact. We saw this during the COVID pandemic, when factory shutdowns in China caused global shortages and shipping delays everywhere. In simple words, when China stops producing, the world starts struggling. China controls global trade. China doesn't just make products, it also controls how products move around the world. China owns or invests in major ports, railways, and shipping routes across Asia, Africa, Europe, and Latin America. One of its biggest projects is called the Belt and Road Initiative. This project helps China build highways, rail systems, bridges, ports, and energy infrastructure in many countries. At first, this sounds like simple business, but there's a bigger strategy behind it. The more countries depend on Chinese infrastructure and trade, the more influence China gains over those countries. Today, China is one of the largest trading partners for dozens of nations around the world. This gives Beijing massive economic power. Because when a country depends on China for trade, it becomes difficult to challenge China politically or economically. China uses money as power. Another reason China has global influence is money. China has huge financial reserves and lends billions of dollars to developing countries. Many governments borrow Chinese money to build airports, roads, railways, and ports. But sometimes those countries struggle to pay the debt back. When that happens, China gains even more leverage. Critics call this debt trap diplomacy. Supporters say China is helping poor countries develop faster. But regardless of the debate, one thing is clear. China's financial influence keeps growing. And because China is deeply connected to global banking and trade systems, changes in China's economy can affect stock markets and businesses worldwide. China wants to dominate technology. For years, people viewed China as a country that copied technology. But today, China is trying to lead the future of technology. The country invests billions into artificial intelligence, robotics, electric vehicles, renewable energy, and advanced computer chips. Chinese companies like and are now competing directly with Western companies. China also controls much of the world's rare earth minerals. These minerals are extremely important because they are used in smartphones, batteries, electric cars, and military technology. Without these materials, modern technology becomes difficult to produce. That gives China another powerful advantage over the global economy. Why the world depends on China. Today, the global economy is deeply connected to China. If China's economy grows, many countries benefit. But if China faces economic problems, the entire world feels nervous. Prices rise, factories slow down, supply chains break, markets react. That's how important China has become. Some experts believe China could eventually become the biggest economy in the world, even larger than. Others believe China still faces major problems like population decline, economic slowdowns, and political tensions with other countries. But regardless of what happens next, China has already changed the global economy forever. So, how does China control the global economy? Through manufacturing, global trade, infrastructure, investments, technology, and financial power. Nearly every country on Earth is connected to China in some way, and that means when China moves, the world moves too. The real question is, will China become the world's #1 superpower in the future? Or will other countries find ways to reduce their dependence on China? Only time will tell.